My grandmother died when I was 6. About a week later, I realized something very important. It was by accident. We were in the living room. I was on the floor playing with my dolls and wishing my mom would play with me. Mom was seated on the couch, staring at the wall. She hadn't been talking much to me since grandmother died, or doing much of anything. I looked up at my silent mom, opened my mouth, and without knowing why, I said, "Grandmother says you should play with me." The response was wonderful. Mom's eyes widened and she looked at me, straight at me. Seeing me, she got off the couch and knelt by me, hugged me and exclaimed, "Oh, my darling daughter, grandmother said that to you," and then burst into sobs. Her face wet with tears, she picked up my doll and began moving it along the floor. After that, I knew that mom would listen when grandmother asked her to do something. It was like grandmother had never died. When she used to make mom give me a cookie, it must have been a month after that, and I just remembered something that grandmother had told me. I turned to mom, opened my mouth, and said, "Grandmother said Aunt Viola was such a pretty child. Such a pity she became fat." Again, I got a wonderful response. Mom's eyes widened with shock. She knelt down by me, her eyes fully on me, and said, "Maya, how could you know that? When did grandmother say this to you?" I blinked. I couldn't remember well, and the look on mom's face was a bit scary maybe. Grandmother said it to me those days I used to stay with her. When mom was working, mom would leave me with her at 2 and pick me up later when I was sleepy. Grandmother used to talk about fatness a lot. Or maybe she said it some other time yesterday, I said. She said it to me yesterday, when we were at the park, looking at fat children. Yes, that must be right. Mom and another woman were talking about fat children, like grandmother used to. Mom hugged me so tightly that I felt like my breathing would stop. Her tears felt warm on my neck and made my t-shirt damp. "Oh, my precious daughter," sobbed mom. Mom told Aunt Viola what I had told her, and she asked me to tell Aunt Viola herself. "Look, Viola, I told you, mother is talking to us through Maya. Tell her. Maya, tell your aunt what grandmother told you." I remember so well, looking at my mom, mother, and my aunt, their shining, desperate eyes. I opened my mouth and repeated, "Grandmother told me you were such a pretty child. Aunt Viola, such a pity you became fat." Aunt Viola cried out as if punched, clapping her hand to her mouth. Mom beamed proudly at me, her special daughter who could talk to grandmother. Everyone knew I was special because I could talk to grandmother who told me things. My cousins treated me respectfully after that, even though I was the youngest. And even my uncles nodded at me when they came over for family dinner. My cousins tried to make me say other things I had heard from dead people. I would start to say something, but then Mom and Aunt Viola told them off. "It's not a party trick. Stop bothering Maya." And then one day, when I was 10, one of my cousins, actually my favorite cousin, Arya, told me that her father hurt her. I knew I had to stop it. After all, wasn't I special? And wasn't Arya the nicest to me? I waited for the next family dinner. Then I opened my mouth and spoke up. "Uncle," I said clearly. The voices fell quiet to everyone. Knew that tone meant that grandmother had a message for someone. "Uncle," I repeated. "Grandmother said you need to stop hurting my cousin." There was silence. Uncle made a sort of noise. So did Mom. Then I gasped. It was like I couldn't breathe. I cried out, clutching my throat. The air rippled and heaved. Through the thick darkening air I could see everyone's face blurry, staring at me, not moving. I gasped again, and my throat seemed to close up. And I felt like I had the worst possible sore throat. For a flash instant, I saw grandmother in the darkness that was closing in on me. I was trying to scream, but no sound came from my mouth. Then it was over. I opened my eyes, standing very still at the dinner table, holding onto the back of the chair. My throat was still very sore, but the unbearable pain had passed. I made a noise, but no words came out. After that dinner, I could never speak again. And even after I learned to communicate with no voice, I never, ever talked about grandmother and grandmother's children, ever again. My cousin Arya and I left our family home when we could, and we never went back. Wow, guys, that one still gives me chills. If you made it to the end, let me know you survived. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the terror, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're creeping closer to that 1K goal, and your support means everything. Hit the bell so you never miss a nightmare-fueled upload. Stay spooky, stay safe, and remember, you might want to sleep with the lights on tonight. Until next time, peace out, if you can.